Of her disappearance. Ella Goody's family and friends are doing their part to keep her case relevant.
Darcy Ortiz joins us live in studio to show us how the community is rallying together to help try to get Ella home. Darcy?
Keep hope alive. That's the message city officials say they want the community to do while the search for Ella Goody and many other persons continues. Family members and loved ones of Ella Goody, a Scott woman who went missing a year ago, gathered to pray and ask the community to speak up if they know anything about her disappearance.
Nobody told me the word would be easy.
Jessica Goody, Ella's cousin, says every day since March 9, 2022 has been difficult.
Big energy. Her laugh is infectious. Anytime she's in the room, you know that she's there. And to not have that in our lives right now is hard.
Ella was last seen giving Brandon Francisco a ride from Louisiana to Texas when she vanished, leaving her kids grieving for their mother.
They miss her. One is 15, one is 14, the son is 15, the girl is 14. I don't want to say their names on camera. They need their privacy, but every day they miss her.
Community activist Selena Charles says she has been supporting the Goody family since the beginning.
This happened with Ella going missing, and he was involved, the last person to see her alive. I had to support the family.
City Council member Patrick Lewis says it's not too late. Things can turn around for the Goody family.
Just want everyone, as I say, to have hope and keep it alive. And you never know, again, if anyone knows something, somebody should know something, please go to the police officer or go to the family members and tell them what you know. That's how we can solve this tragedy.
I will wait on you, yeah. I will trust in you till I die. I will trust in you.
This community gathering was not only for Ella Goody, but also Dion Cluett, Nathaniel Lee Melancon, Brahim Celestine, and several others who are missing. The event was designed to spread awareness about the growing number of missing persons right here in Acadiana. If you have any information regarding these people, please contact police. Live in studio, Darcy Ortiz, KATC TV3.
A social justice group is putting the spotlight back on a missing woman, Ella Goody.
The 33-year-old was last seen March 9th of this year. Her family says she was driving a ride-sharing passenger to Houston. The next week, the 36-year-old Brandon Francisco was named as a person of interest, believed to be the last person in contact with Goody. On March 25th, he was arrested on unrelated charges. However, in May, Louisiana State Police said they were investigating Goody's disappearance as a homicide. Since then, there has been no new information released. News 10's Britt LaFaso spoke with a local social justice organization about why they think she's still missing. Britt.
Hey, Darla. Well, Ella's 34th birthday was this week. Her family hopes she'll be back home celebrating with them. Instead, tomorrow will mark 6 months since they last saw her.
How do you celebrate a birthday of a person you haven't seen in 6 months without them? You can't talk to them. You don't know where they are. You can't go to a headstone or a grave. You don't even know if there is one to be prepared.
Devon Norman, president of the Village 337, says he questions why Ella's family still has no answers.
I think that it's apparent that when somebody who is not a person of color dies in this community or goes missing, or is, vanishes out of nowhere and there's a person of interest, there's so much work to be done to make sure that we find out who it is and that that person is put to justice. That doesn't happen for us.
He says if Ella was not black, things would be different.
I think the world would have responded differently if Ella was white. And if people had not seen her face, I wonder how much quicker they would have been ready to respond.
May State Police said they were now investigating Ella's disappearance as a homicide, with Brandon Francisco, the person of interest in her disappearance, still in custody. Her family hoped they would get answers, but they were wrong.
And if there are answers, if he has spoken, how is it that the community does not know? There's no way. Not in 2022, not in this America.
Norman believes Francisco holds the answers to Ella's whereabouts. While state police tell us they cannot release any more information on the case, Norman questions why.
If you're in the profession of protecting and serving people, I'm not saying anybody is doing their job wrong, but maybe there's more that can be done. And I think transparency is key. If there's nothing, assure the public.
As for Francisco, Norman has one message for him.
May God have mercy on your soul. May God have mercy on your soul.
Francisco is scheduled to go to trial in Rapides Parish in October for unrelated attempted second-degree murder charges from 2018. This week, the Louisiana Supreme Court also ruled that the prosecuting attorneys cannot present evidence from a prior attempted murder charge in which he pled guilty to stabbing his ex-girlfriend nearly 20 times. Brett LaFaso, KLFY News 10. Disappearance is centered around her vehicle. Her family says they last saw her Wednesday when she was picking up someone to drive them to Houston. That was the last time they've heard from her. Police say the 33-year-old's vehicle was seen on I-10 that afternoon heading towards Texas on Wednesday, March 9th. They say 12 hours later, her vehicle, a black Audi, was seen again on I-10 heading back into Louisiana.
We know it's her vehicle. Due to the tinted windows, it's undetermined if she was driving or if anyone was with her at that time on March the 9th.
Goody's family says she was driving a man to Texas, though police say the tinted windows make it impossible to tell who is in the vehicle.
We do have one picture where you can see one hand on a steering wheel, but it's undetermined if it's a male hand, a female hand, or if it's her or not. You can't see any faces or anything of the vehicle. Whoever's in the vehicle, I should say.
Goody's family says if she made it back to Lafayette, she never contacted them, and they were surprised to hear that the next day her vehicle was seen again back in Texas, just north of Dallas this time.
We have not been able to pick up on her vehicle since. So we have a gentleman that is a potential person of interest that may have some knowledge of her whereabouts or what's going on. That's still an investigation. We're not releasing that information at this time, but the investigation is still ongoing.
As police continue investigating, Goody's family says they fear that she's in danger. Police say if you have any information regarding Ella Goody or her disappearance, contact law enforcement immediately. Reporting in Scott, Brett LaFaso, KLFY News 10.
Girls 13 and 14 years old. Her family say she told her daughter she would be back by the end of school last Wednesday after driving someone to Houston.
She spoke to her daughter on that day, that morning, and say to make sure that she was going to school, and her mom was going to be back before she get back from school. That she was just going to go bring this person to Houston, and she was going to come back.
Goody had worked as a rideshare driver, but police say she was suspended from doing so at the time of her trip. But family members say she started offering driving services on her own.
This guy asked her to bring it to Houston. From her heart, she said, yeah, man, you give me the money, pay me to bring it to Houston, I'm going to bring it to Houston.
Police have identified Brandon Francisco as a person of interest. Family members say he is the person who Goody gave a ride to Texas. They're not sure if they knew one another.
We do show that on the 9th, her vehicle was picked up on I-10 heading towards Texas in the early morning hours, and approximately 12 hours later, he was picked up back in Louisiana, coming back towards Lafayette area. The very next day, after we come back up in Lafayette, Louisiana, her vehicle was tracked in north of Dallas.
Family members hoping and praying for the best.
Hopefully, no, we're not expecting any type of foul play. All we want is for her to come home safe. And whomever you are, if you're watching this, all we ask is that you turn yourself in and let her go.
Chief Leger urges anyone who has information on Francisco or Goody to contact the Scott Police Department. Live from Scott, Megan Glover, KTC TV3.